What's going on, everybody? My name is Stephen Mendez. I'm the Now Gen pastor at Momentum Church.
Doug Jolly. I am not Tyler McNeely.
You're not Tyler McNeely.
And I am not the creative director at Momentum Church.
It's true. He is one of our deacons. He's one of my best friends. We're going to get into a little bit of that as we get into the podcast today. Yeah. But this is the current podcast where we talk about current events and Pastor Tim's current message. So, yeah, man, I want to talk about that. So it's not very often that the person sitting on camera with me is actually the person that brought me to this church. So if you don't know, this guy's invite is the reason that I'm here in the first place. I was a lost knucklehead. We were playing rugby together, and he wouldn't stop inviting me. It took 6 months. He got me here. Obviously, it's stuck. Yeah. I'm still here.
The invite turned into a demand at one point.
Yeah, you did.
It's like, you're going.
Because it wasn't church.
Yeah.
It was night of worship.
Night of worship.
You were like, you're going.
You're going, bro.
I know where you live.
Me. Yeah.
It's right by your house. Yeah. You're going.
Yep.
All right. And best night ever.
Yeah. And man, I'll speak to that real quick.
Yeah.
It's humbling to me a lot because of the dynamic things you're doing with this church, to the blessing you've been to my kids as our youth pastor. And it reminds me and challenges me to obey the nudge.
Yeah, that's right.
Brian Case in the house. Let's go.
Obey the
freaking nudge.
Yep.
Because I think of the times in my life where I know there was an opportunity and I didn't take it.
Yep.
Both before and since.
Sure.
You started here.
We don't hit perfect.
And it just reminds me of the importance and what lies in the balance of obeying that nudge.
That's right.
You make me proud.
Thanks, man. And it's funny because I'm not the only person in this room or on this staff that has a connection to you. You know, we should just let Doug invite people we want to hire. Yeah. Because it all kind of works out. Shout out to our production guy over here, John. Similar hue, you know? Yeah. He came to the church because of you, and now I work with him every day.
So I'm not the creative director here, but little known fact, I am the staff recruiter.
Yeah, you're the hiring manager. Yeah. Hiring manager. But no, you are a deacon for the church.
Yep.
You've been involved pretty much since day one.
I am, yeah. So at the very start, I was going to another church here in town. Some things had changed there. Awesome church, but some things had changed in our interaction with it. And when Tim was first coming to town, I had no intention of moving.
Right.
They were only meeting once a month at the time, so I would bless them with my attendance. And then make it. Yeah, I say that jokingly.
That's how you felt, though.
But it's how I felt.
Yeah,
like, hey, I want to go. I say bless them. I wanted to go and support my brother. Tim and I go all the way back to college days.
Right. And I just want to. That's why, like, most times when someone's up here, they're like, "Oh, Pastor Tim." You knew him when he was a teenager.
Yes.
You guys go back to
we go all the way back.
Yep.
Yeah. So, of course, another example of God gives us partners who are better than us. My wife knew that this is where we were supposed to be before I did, and was praying. Instead of pushing, she was praying. And there's lots to learn in that too. But so going all the way back to a series we just did called Triple Crown.
Yeah, that's a great
one of those weeks I came happened to be week 1 of Triple Crown. And on the way home that day, I turned to K-Star and I said, I want to be clear, we ain't going to this church. Mm-hmm. I'm just interested in this series, and I want to go through this series, but don't get any ideas because we're not switching churches.
How'd that work out?
Yeah. God had another plan, you know?
That's cool, man. I told God in no uncertain terms.
Hard no?
I can't say the words I wanted to say. I did say at the time.
Yeah.
I'm never going back to church.
Yeah.
And joke's on me.
Yep.
Here I am.
Here you are.
So I get it, man.
Fully in. Staff.
All in. Yep.
It's been a wild ride to watch, my friend.
It's been a wild ride to be a part of.
Yeah.
I still have the days where I sit in the seat and I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
But I'm so glad I'm here.
God is good.
So glad I'm here.
He has a plan for your life too.
Yep. So address the elephant in the room real quick. Tyler's not here.
Tyler's not here.
Yeah. I know.
Other than here.
There's been some tensions on camera. Some of you have spoken about just the back and forth between me and Tyler. I want to make it very clear. I didn't kill him.
He's alive. Barely.
I didn't kill him, but I do know where he is. No, Tyler's on vacation with his bride, with his kids. They are Disneying it up in the best way. And by that, I mean, the kids didn't know where they were going until they showed up.
Full surprise.
Threw the kids in the car, started driving, showed up at Disney World. It's amazing. If you follow Tyler's social media, I'm sure there'll be plenty of adult Disney photos on his stories over the next few days.
Yes.
With his giant fanny pack.
Just the right amount of photos, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, not too much.
Not too many.
Definitely
Could
not
never
too many.
be too many.
No.
Tyler, I love you. I honor you. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
I wish you were here. You deserve the time off, so enjoy it. And in the meantime, I'm interviewing your replacement, so it'll be fine. It's fine.
It'll be good.
It's fine.
It'll be
It's
good.
fine. So we always start. We ask the same questions, man. How was your week? What happened this last week? What's new in the life of Doug? Just church related, not church related. What's new?
All right. So I had a good week. Had a crazy week. As you know, last weekend was beach baptism.
Yes, it was.
So we do a little thing called Mo Meals for that.
And I am so appreciative.
It helps support a good buddy of mine in his
Yeah.
efforts to take every kid who has the heart to go to camp, regardless of their financial situation.
I want to be very clear. I'm the good buddy.
Yeah, that's the good buddy.
I just want everyone to know.
It's
Yeah,
him.
It's me.
So yeah, we got to cook for Mo Meals again. Love doing it. And we had a special guest this time around. So my good friend / barbecue mentor / straight up family member, Mo Cason.
Big Mo.
He came down because he was closing on some property here in Pensacola.
Yeah, buddy.
He's becoming a Gulf Coast resident with us. In fact, bought some property just north of me.
Right by you, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can hit a golf ball to his house.
Up in the semi-boonies of Pensacola.
Yes, he's got a little private oasis. We won't talk about exactly where.
Yeah, I would never do that. The only property that we tell everybody exactly where they are is Chuck Kimball, because it's the last house in Florida.
Yeah.
Before you cross
Yeah,
the bridge.
it's an easy one.
It's an easy one to talk about.
Yeah, when
We
you hit the
joked
bridge,
about
you missed
getting him one of those sticks with the arrows that tell you like Alabama 0.1 miles that way.
I think that's a great gift for Chuck
Tijuana,
Kimball.
there's so many miles, but just like the little sticks.
That'd be a
Kinda
good
like,
gift for a volunteer extraordinaire.
Oh yeah, I think
There's
so.
nobody on this side, on the volunteer side, that has given more consistently for
That's right.
longer than Chuck Kimball.
Yeah,
He's the man.
Chuck's the man, and his
Yeah.
whole family too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Stacy with the babies, Ella in worship. It's
Ella?
crazy.
Like, so not last week because we were at the beach course, but the week before that I was doing rally.
Yep.
Our volunteer rally in the morning. So I was on site a little bit early and I had slid into the back of the auditorium. Ella was warming up, singing away, and I had to get out of there. I was like, because I was like,
The pollen kicked up
oh
pretty
man,
heavy.
pollen
Yeah.
kicked up quick, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm about to speak in front of everybody. Like, I got to get out of here. But watching her grow under Caleb and Kristen, and how
Yeah.
they've poured into both her and Riley and others, watching the speed at which those kids
Oh, yeah.
have grown is just, it's incredible.
It is something, man. I sit here on Wednesdays and I see Ella and Riley and Annie and Kelsey get up here and lead worship, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I remember when some of you, Annie in particular, Annie, I don't know if you watch the podcast, but this is about you. I remember being at a winter camp. Maybe it was a summer camp, but it was her birthday. It was a winter camp. It was her birthday, and she refused to let anyone sing happy birthday to her because of her anxiety.
Yeah.
And now she's on stage
On
leading
stage.
worship on Sundays, and you're like, come
Yeah.
on.
That's
Come on,
crazy
man.
bold, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
a tough age to stand up in front of your peers.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I know they do it here.
They do it here
for
too
youth
on
as well,
Wednesdays
right?
with high school.
Get
Yeah,
up
yeah.
there in front of your peers and be vulnerable enough to lead them in worship.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Proud of
something,
them.
man.
Need some of those boys to step up.
Yeah, so that's I know.
Yeah, yeah. The
I
girls are putting you
know.
to shame, guys.
And it's one
Come
of those
on.
things where somebody else will rat out one of the boys like, he plays guitar. And he's like, oh yeah, but I'm not that good.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're good. I just
Yeah.
want you to be committed. Oh,
Yeah. Flat out, they're not as brave as the girls.
it's true. Bunch of punks.
Challenges out there, boys.
Bunch of punks. But yeah, so Mo Meals, Big Mo came in. I don't have an exact number for all of our fundraising efforts yet, but it will be somewhere in the realm of about $5,000 to help kids go to camp, big city, middle school, and high school to get us through the summer. Of course, we do another fundraising push for winter camp.
Yeah.
So kind of unrelated to that. But man, the blessing that we get to be to some of these kids that wouldn't
Yep.
be able to go otherwise is huge. And Mo, it was good seeing you. We got to honor Mo.
Yes, that was so
Got
cool.
to honor him on stage.
I was watching it back after our beach baptism and
Yeah.
watching that clip with Mo and how Tim did such a good job of honoring him.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that how genuine that is and how Tim feels about, Mo's done a lot for our community.
Yep.
A lot of people probably don't even know, but it was just in our second year of Egg Fest. So back a bazillion years ago, myself and Gerald Hall and Lisa Longlighter started a little thing called Pensacola Egg Fest.
Yeah, man.
It's gone fairly well.
Talk about it.
But it was literally year 2 that we were literally sitting in a meeting, the three of us, bouncing around ideas about who we could get, what celebrity we thought we could get. When we wanted something in the food world, we had
Right.
brought in an ex-NFL player in our first year. That was great. But we wanted somebody in that world.
Yeah.
And, I will always say, and God's in these things, that we could have picked anyone.
Right.
We wanted someone with the barbecue acumen and draw.
Sure.
And what we got was a family member.
got
We
Big
really
Mo,
did.
man.
So that very first year, we emailed him and told him a little bit about our event and the fact that we were a charity and had no money to pay him. And he literally emailed back and said, I'm in. And we were shocked enough that we sent an email back again saying, did you catch the part where we have no money, Mo? Like, we're asking you to come to Florida.
Yeah.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Hey, come to the beach. We'll put you up, but we don't have any money to pay you for this. And he's like, yes, I can read. I'm in. And literally, so again, what we were recruiting a barbecue celebrity. What we got was one of the kindest, most giving men that I have the privilege to call not only my friend but family now.
Yep.
So, and now he's moving to Pensacola.
And what I love, man, is in a year that has been full of trials for him.
Yeah.
He's had a family. Ooh. He's had people that I don't doubt that y'all are a big reason to the fact that he's moving here.
Yeah.
Because he knows y'all got him. You're his community. You're his family. And he has somewhere good to land. So we love you, Mo.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll ever watch this, but I'm sure Doug will make sure you watch this.
I'll
We
make
love you,
him.
man.
Yeah.
We love you. So we had Mo meals. We'll get to Sunday and beach baptism and all that when we talk about the message. Anything else this week big for you?
No, that's probably the highlight this week. Of course, my bride was away for a couple days.
Yeah, I
which
stole
is
her. I stole her away.
Always tough, but
It's not what it sounds like.
with that cooking stuff that I was just talking about, we were passing in the night, high-fiving where by the time she rolled back into town from the leader retreat / advance that you were pouring into your leaders with, I was already prepping and cooking for Mo meals. So she literally came by my buddy Cube's place, literally just to give me a hug because she knew she'd be long ago asleep before I got home. And then I was up and out again at 5 the next morning before she got it. So beach baptism was like our first real connection.
Yeah.
When she got there since she went away. But she had an awesome time, man. She said she learned a lot. She said there were some tough conversations.
Yep.
But those got to happen, right?
That's right.
That's
how
part
you
of
grow.
getting better. Yep.
Let's see. My week.
Yeah, what do you got going on?
Well, this last week was real. It's real interesting. High school YTH. I preached on something that I've never heard preached on. I asked him about it, and he's like, "Well, I've never preached on it." He's like, "I've never heard anyone preach on it." So to tell a room full of teenagers about gluttony was real.
That's a tough one.
Real interesting.
It is.
It was real interesting. We're doing a series about the 7 deadly sins, and it was going to come up eventually, right? Like it's one of them.
You want to know a little opinion I have on that?
Yeah.
On the whole gluttony thing, because again, it's an easy one to judge because it's so visual,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
For people that really struggle in that area. But you tell me one other addiction, anyone, you pick it, that they don't tell you, like the only way to get over this is cold turkey, right?
Oh, yeah.
If alcohol is your problem, the only way to get better is it's got to stop, right? If it's illicit drugs, whatever it is, the only way forward is cold turkey.
That's
like
right.
it's got to be off, right? You're addicted to food.
Yep.
You don't get to turn it off. You still have to flirt with your addiction.
That's right. For the rest of your life.
Take it in bit by bit.
For the rest of your life.
And somehow control it.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough, man. It's an easy one to judge.
Yeah.
And I think instead, those of us who aren't afflicted with it should be thankful that it's not. It's a tough one.
And it was the whole point of it was just, in the year 300 AD, the church fathers and Pope Gregory, like they got this list of 7 things they pulled out of the Bible, and they're like, these are the sins that beget sins. These are the most deadly sins. Although up there they don't carry different weight. Down here it leads to a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And now 1700 years later, that might be the most acceptable, passable sin we have, because everyone's just like, meh.
Yeah.
Meh. I made a joke with them. If I walked up here to preach to you guys with whiskey in my hand and a slur in my step, how many would say something?
Yeah.
If I walked up here with a knife in my hand and blood on my face, who would say something? If while I was preaching, a woman came up here and kissed me on the mouth and it wasn't my wife, you would say something. But if you saw me drinking a 4,000 calorie Starbucks drink and my clothes were fitting a little tighter than they were and I was crushing cheeseburgers and then I came up here to preach, you wouldn't say a word. And it's the world decided it's passable, so now the church has decided it's passable. And
I never really thought about it that way, man.
It's rough.
That is rough.
It's rough.
But we're supposed to treat our body as a temple, right?
And that was the whole point, right? Was your body isn't just your body. It actually doesn't belong to you. It was bought with a hell of a price, and it's a temple for the Holy Spirit.
Yep.
And I talked about, who's had a pet that lived in a cage? Why'd you keep the cage clean? Because it affected the animal. So if this is a temple for the Holy Spirit, then what do you think's happening to the Holy Spirit if you don't keep your temple clean?
Yeah.
And there was you saw some, oh,
Yeah.
dang, I didn't think of that. And it was good, man. It was so good. And I went into it afraid. Like, man, there might be kids that don't come back. This might not land well. I might be public enemy number one. There might be some teenage girl that goes home and is like, Pastor Steve said I shouldn't eat anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want any of that.
How long did it take you to check your email the next morning? Did you give it a minute? I'd have been nervous.
0 because of how that night went. We ended up having
Just
5 salvations on a message about gluttony.
Let's
and
go.
Every single person had something like, thank you for that. I needed that. Hey, I'm checking myself with certain things. And I walked out on cloud 9 and came and hung out with you right after.
Oh, yeah, Wednesday night.
Yeah, came and hung out with you right after.
We had a mutual friend in town.
Yep.
That was awesome. It was cool to get to reconnect.
Yep.
Need to go see him play again sometime soon.
The whole point of that is, man, like, if I didn't get out of my own way, my own discomfort zone,
Yep.
and I didn't preach that message, 5 people's eternities wouldn't be changed. So, like, how do you argue?
Yeah.
You know, how do you argue with that? So that was Wednesday, and then I woke up bright and early Thursday and took 10 of my super high impact, high capacity leaders on a retreat, poured into them for a few days, lots of training, lots of hard questions and conversations. But we also went to an escape room and worked together and did axe throwing and got away. And it was great. It was absolutely incredible. And came back Saturday just in time for a beach baptism.
Beach baptism, which was incredible.
You know,
what was our final number? Do you know?
66.
66.
Yep, and 10 of those were post message. So we had 59 sign up, 50 of those checked in, 5 or 6 more came and said, hey, I didn't sign up, but I want to do this before the message even started.
Yeah.
And then an additional 10 after Tim's invitation got into the water and decided to
So, of course, I missed some of that because I'm up at the trailer. We're serving food immediately after. But even that night and again the next day, seeing stuff online and seeing some of the people that I didn't know got baptized that did. Super proud of you, Jessica, by the way.
Oh, we'll talk about that. I want to tell that whole story because I had insight into when she showed up. You'll laugh.
Yeah,
But
it was
continue.
awesome. And then I saw some of the guys from Catholic baseball.
And Catholic high school posted
came
it.
out and a good friend of mine, Keith Haynes, is the one that posted that for Catholic high school.
Incredible.
Shout out, Keith.
Yeah,
appreciate you, brother.
So good, man.
But yeah, it was so cool seeing those kids out there, building that brotherhood.
Yep.
It was doing life together.
Vaughn, Parker, and Blaze, who were brought by Colton and Ryland, who were their teammates. And I know that there's other Catholic baseball players that come with them that just haven't taken that step yet. But I want to say they roll like 8 or 9 deep every Sunday morning now. And
invite matters.
And now we're seeing parents come.
Yeah.
Because the teen comes, the parents come.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love that? You know?
So cool.
But yeah, that Jessica story. So Jessica is a professional friend turned friend of Doug.
Yep.
Who through that connection I met through church, and now I get to lead the small group that she's in for our 25 to 35-year-olds. So I've gotten pretty close with her. And I was at the check-in / connection tent when she showed up. And she paused to talk to me, and Christina, who didn't know her well, was just like, oh, you here to check in for baptism? Because she paused at the tent.
Yeah.
And Jessica was like, no.
No, not today.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Not there yet. Right? Like, I'm a baby Christian. I'm learning my walk. I got Bambi legs. I'm not, oh no. And just walked by. And then I'm over in the Now Gen line doing baptisms, and Tim is in the other line for everybody else. And I see Jessica wading into the water, and tears are pouring down her eyes. And I paused, and I was just like, wait, this is happening. This is happening.
You could have prepped me with that ahead of time. You got to tell me that live here. I got to deal with it.
And she walks
awesome.
out into the water, and she is bawling in the best way with the biggest smile on her face. And if you go watch the reel that Tyler made, there's a moment where she put her hands up and gave the I love you symbol up onto the shore, and they caught the picture like perfectly with her doing that right before she got baptized.
That was what I saw. That was my first indication that she got baptized. I'm like, man, that's so cool.
Wrecked me. And then of course I scooted my butt over to that line because I'm like, I'm not being a part of this.
Yeah.
And she got baptized, wrapped her arms around me, big old thank yous and tears. And that's one of those moments that'll live with me in ministry.
Yeah.
Because I saw her show up and go, no.
Yeah.
And then I saw the Holy Spirit work, and then I saw her get in the water.
So proud of her.
And sometimes that journey is years.
Yeah.
And I got to see it in 1 hour.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
It's big.
You want to go down that rabbit trail? I'd tell another little hard
Go
story.
ahead. Do it.
We can talk about the real things, right? Because church isn't perfect.
No.
And we know ours isn't either.
No.
So Jessica first started coming when we were at PLT.
Yes.
And we were still in the auditorium.
The big room.
The first couple of weeks.
The big room, yeah.
So very new to church, of course. And then immediately, construction started, which we knew was coming, all that stuff, and we were moved to the courtroom. And I mean, Jessica can verify what it was, but it couldn't have been more than her second or third week ever coming.
And the courtroom's much smaller, just so you
Much
don't know.
smaller.
So same volume of people that were filling the main auditorium, we're now fitting in a much smaller space.
We filled it up at a high level.
Yeah.
And I remember her, with my role, I'm kind of watching as people come in and stuff like that. And I see her come in a little bit later, and that the room was pretty full already. And she gets marshaled down a row between some people that are already all sitting, and there's a single chair in the middle of it. And for those of you who have never done that, super uncomfortable, right?
Yep.
Like if you're, number one, not yet a Jesus follower and or are either new to church or like your story, had sworn off it a long time ago and not sure you want to be back there. To get marshaled down a row and sat, in relatively tight seating between people you don't know from Adam.
It's off-putting.
My lack of faith, I was immediately like, that was Jessica's last week.
She's out.
Yeah, she's out. Next week's right back in that door. And I
Yep.
literally, I remember seeing her walk to that door. I'm like, I'm so proud of you.
Yep.
Like, so proud of
Yep.
you. Had been, because in between those two, the devil gave her every excuse to not come back. That was uncomfortable.
She stepped
there's
into
other
somebody
places.
else's growing pains.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's easy to step into someone else's growing pains and be like, I don't fit here right now.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come back later when it's all settled and pretty. And as a newer believer, it's easy to check out that. Yeah. Hey, this doesn't fit my preference.
Yep.
So I'll wait because it's about my preference. That'll.
We talk about that one for a long time. You mean it's not about you?
No.
Purpose over preference.
Yep. But yeah, so proud of Jessica. So proud of everybody. 66 people, man, getting in the water. Cool. 66 people. Two young Marines that were over an air crew school that were spontaneous. Jacob and Anessa. And then Anessa, it's funny. She goes out of her way, finds the Momentum Instagram, the YTH Instagram, and my personal Instagram last night, and starts following all of them, and is already commenting on the reels and I'm like, that's it. Like already
that's so cool.
Being a voice. And she went to the beach yesterday to go to the beach.
One of the cool things about being there at that time of year, it's not so long ago we did beach baptism where you brave souls were in the water in much different weather.
January 7th.
Yeah. And that morning, January 7th, I'm out, early. Part of that deacon role, Tim asked us to pray with him in the morning. So our little circle is down by the water and we had the beach to ourselves.
Yep.
Which was, at the time thought was great. We had a little quiet time. We're able to pray with and for Tim before he speaks.
Yeah.
Well, he asked the same thing of us yesterday. So I jump off the barbecue trailer real quick, go down to the water with him. And that's the first thing that God put on my heart was like, look around, like yesterday morning, even at that time, which was probably 8:30 or so,
it was pretty empty
when I went down there. But there was already bodies out there on the beach. And I said, Tim, I'm like, look at all these people that have a collision in store today that they have no idea about. So like, is it probably logistically for our production team and host teams and everything more difficult to do at that time of year? Sure. But again, coming to that purpose over preference, I mean, again, these people, there's literally people that got up to go to the beach that day, to your point, that instead met Jesus for the first time. So,
and I was
so cool.
Just so happenstancely, it's a word, look it up, staged in a position to see the whole crowd when he gave the invitation because I was getting up to do the next steps on the microphone. So I was in the back, kind of in the walk-up tunnel, and I could see the whole crowd and out into the beach. And when he gave the invitation for salvation, a flood of hands, I think it was 27 salvations, just hands, all over. My first thought was like, host team, ugh, good luck.
Yeah.
But then I was like, man, I don't remember the last time I saw a move of God like that.
Yeah.
And what it came down to was an unwatered down, slightly uncomfortable, biblically true message.
Yeah, he went after it.
That led into the gospel presentation.
And that's obeying that nudge too, right? Because he let us know that morning. In fact, he says it in the start of his message that for 2 weeks he had a different message to preach that day, and God said, nope.
Yeah.
I got something for you.
And it was pointy.
Yeah.
And it was spiky, and it could step on toes.
Yeah.
If you're not walking the right way, if you're not doing the right things, it could step on your toes. And it was an introspective message that really made you shut it down and go, where am I at?
Yeah.
Where am I at? And those messages are hard because the enemy tells you everyone's going to check out. Everyone's going to say, well, who are you to tell me, blah, you know?
Yep.
And then you see 20-something hands and 66 baptisms. And
so I know that this is true of lots of us, but I know that I am guilty of it, that sometimes I say people's no for them.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you know, you've invited someone for a long time and they finally come in the first week. It's we're speaking on the tithe or giving and obedience and that, which, by the way, needs to be talked about.
Oh, yeah.
But you're uncomfortable. You're like, oh, man, I'm never getting this friend again. But back when we were in Gulf Breeze Middle School, I had a friend of mine, again, that I know through business that came, and it was a week when we were doing Momentum at the Movies.
Yep.
So if you've never seen them, worthwhile going back and watching. They're super cool. But basically our incredible creative people had taken in some of the movies, kind of inserted Tim where he's speaking over them and stuff, but watching secular movies that are popular in that day and pulling life truths
biblical
from
messages
them.
From
yes,
them. Yeah,
exactly. Life lessons from those and how it applies to us as Christians or non-Christians, what God wants of us in our life. So anyway, that first week, this friend of mine is there, and I'm like, oh man, it's Momentum at the Movies. Like, you know, you're thinking somebody could just sit at home and watch this and stuff. Sure enough, I'm out front after, and he comes up and like, hey, whatever. And I right away was like, he says to me, so is that what they always do or whatever? I was like, oh no, you know, this is
you were ready to
thing.
apologize.
Yeah, I was ready to apologize for it. And he cuts me off. He's like, I loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, you idiot.
Yep.
I'm such a moron. Like, don't say someone's no for them.
That's
like,
right.
Literally, God was speaking to him through that. And I'm ready to stand there and be apologetic because it wasn't, you know, I love when my pastor preaches.
Oh,
you know? I can listen to Tim. He's as good a communicator as I know. I tell him all the time and tell other people there's nobody better at truth and love that I've met in my whole life.
It's true.
Tim Payne can...
Say that again.
There's literally nobody I know that's better at truth and love than Tim Payne.
Truth and love.
Yeah.
Because somebody can shove truth down your throat and hurt you so much you don't listen. And somebody can love you so much that they don't tell you what you need to hear.
Yeah. Tim Payne can say things to me that nobody else would get away with. You know? Because I know where it's coming from.
Yep.
And he believes in that relational equity, right? Where he pours in first. I know everyone's probably heard him say it if you've heard him at all. To say people have to know you care before they care what you know.
Yep. Yes.
They got to know you care.
They got to know that you care before they care what you know.
Before they care what you know.
And it's something. So the theme of this leader retreat is right off the back of that. It was be unoffendable, and it was tied to knowing the intention of the other side. On the other side, there's nothing. Let me take that back. There's few things Pastor Tim could say that would offend me, and I know he wouldn't.
Yeah.
The things that I know would cross the line aren't things he would say. Yeah. So the things that he is allowed to say to me are such a wide swath because I'm unoffendable.
Yep.
Because whatever he says, it's like, dude, I know your heart.
Yes.
I know your family's heart. I know when you've been there for me. And if you're saying this, there's a reason.
Yeah.
And I probably need to humble up and figure out why you're saying this instead of put my guard up and be like, well, and what do you think you know?
He's our pastor, right? And he takes
he's
that responsibility seriously. Or maybe people don't know, he'd probably love to speak on grace every week.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let's just have,
lovey, touchy-feely.
Let's be Grace Church, and let's preach on grace every week. Let's see how effective that would be.
It's not reality.
You know, it is not reality. Grace is a huge component.
Yep.
But it's not the whole pie, right?
Grace is your ticket to the movie.
Yeah.
But then once you're sitting in the seat, there's sanctification, repentance, transformative power. There's a lot that goes into that.
Yep.
And none of those got you saved. But if I'm not seeing those fruits come out of you, I really question where your heart was the day you said, I accept Jesus. I'm like, there has to be that change.
We don't get cleaned up to come to God, but there is life change beyond that, right?
That's right.
In fact, in the message at the beach.
Let's get to the message.
Yeah, you want to jump into that one?
Let's get to the message. We'll jump into that.
Oh, well, I'll open with a shout out to, two of the guys in this room, and I know the team goes beyond that. But as I mentioned, I was on the trailer for it, so I didn't really get to
you were cooking
hear
the meats.
much of anything. Yeah, I was cooking good meats. So I went back and watched it on YouTube, assuming this is going to be on as well.
It is.
So if you've missed these messages, go on back. But the shout out part is, hey, we'll be honest again here, right? Like, there are times it hasn't been this way.
We haven't always hit the mark.
Yeah, and I do some stuff with the creative side and everything with them, and I've mentioned, where some of the worship in particular, when I would go back and watch stuff, I felt like, ooh,
Yeah.
just
the mix.
levels off, the mix is off and stuff like that. But we have got a new guy, for one, that's taking the lead on that. And anyway, point being, when I went back and watched it from yesterday, which again, you're in a different environment, John.
Yep. A windy environment.
A windy environment. You're off site. Our worship sounded awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Like, you don't have to fast forward through that.
Nope.
To get to the message.
Yeah. Did you hear those announcements at the end? Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
That guy was on it.
That guy, yeah, he was on fire. He must have been there for the message.
Must have been sitting there the whole time.
Yeah, but
That's
again,
funny.
shout out to you guys. Really awesome job. It makes a difference. It really does.
Yeah.
Because for me, who's bought in already when it wasn't right, I'll fast forward through that because I'm there to watch the message. But how many people would we lose who stumble onto a video and go,
It's
man,
trash. Yeah.
Woo,
Yeah.
hard on the ears, and we lose them
Yep.
before they ever get to the meat of the meal. So
good.
heck of a job, guys. Super proud of you. If you haven't watched it again, you can literally go back and watch and enjoy the worship as well.
Yep.
So yeah, on to the message, yeah?
Yeah. The message, I mean, one sentence summary, here's what America needs to hear right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not huge personally on making your church about nationalism.
Right.
But I do believe that if we're not using what we know about God and about Jesus to make our country better, you're an idiot too.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit in a chair every Sunday and say the Pledge of Allegiance and talk about how God loves America the most, because that's just not reality. And there are churches that do that. And it's like, what are we doing here?
Some people who aren't American, would find that little, oh, yeah, me.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I 100% do.
You know, it's the people that still think that he's a blonde hair, blue-eyed, white
Yes.
Jesus. And it's like, remember where he came from, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Remember where he came from. But this was just about our country, the state of our country, and how we need prayer and we need intervention, and we need to step up as the church and do so many things different. And I know you had some big points and some big takeaways, and I'd love if you led this conversation, man. And I'll punch in because I loved what you took away from it.
So again, when you have the privilege of going back and watching it after, I was able to take some notes and stuff and hit some hot points. Some of the stuff that stuck out to me when he was talking about, so it was a 5-point message.
Yep.
I'll give all 5 right out of the gate, and then we'll go back and dissect them. So it was, number 1 was a great remembrance, and then it was a great repentance. Number 3 was a great return. Number 4, a great reward. And then number 5, a great restoration.
Yep.
One of the things that stuck out to me overall is, and it's to your point, Steve, where this isn't just about America, but this stuff rings true no matter what you're talking about, right? Because it's true in our families too. This is true in how we lead our wives and our children. All this stuff applies.
Yep.
Whether you want to see your family be on fire for Jesus, your city, your state, your country, or your world.
These 5 things,
they all apply.
Yep.
So again, one of the things that stuck out to me under the second category of a great repentance is he started to talk about pride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're a man.
Yeah.
I'm a man.
Whew.
What do you struggle with a lot?
Man, pride, like it holds us back so much, right? Like even in friendships like ours where, we've had hard conversations.
Yep.
We've laughed together. We've cried together. Nothing's off limits. But sometimes pride stops you from going all the way to healing.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because as men, we want to sound tough all the time, or like we have it together, and we don't want to talk about our blind spots or our weaknesses or areas that the devil's getting victory in our life. Like we want to talk about all the areas we're having victory.
Yep.
And skip over these struggles in our lives that are holding us back or are hurting our family or hurting our marriages.
Because you're
pride,
afraid,
man.
you're afraid you'll be thought of as less than a man.
Yeah.
If you open the door.
Yeah. And sometimes I think we don't believe it about ourselves. Like that pride gets to the level that you think you've got this under control, or that's okay, or it's not a big issue, or whatever that might be. But that pride is a killer, man. So that's one of the ones that stuck out to me. Big time.
It's a lot of people. If you were to ask them, hey, what's the first sin in the Bible? They would say that it's the fall of Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
And they forget that the original sin in the Bible is Lucifer's fall due to pride.
Yep.
He
Pride.
said, hey, God, I know I'm too in command, but I'm pretty sure I could do your job better than you. And I got all these people that think I could do your job better than you. So we're just going to do our own thing.
Yeah. He literally went with, I'm so pretty.
I'm so perfect. So pretty.
Yeah.
Great ministry director up here doing worship up in heaven. I don't need you.
Yeah, right out of the gate.
Yep.
Pride. Yeah. So, and I know that sin is universal. It's not just a dude thing, but we're dudes.
Yes.
So I know it from that perspective. And that's one of the things that when he was talking, I was like, oh, I better back that up and listen to that one more time through. It's just something that I know that I've struggled with in my life. And again, it's probably at very least slowed growth in certain areas because I let pride get in the way.
Sure. And you say you, but men, right? We praise God, we're built different than women.
Yeah.
Praise Jesus for the differences between the genders.
Yeah.
And you go to Ephesians 6, where a book that I love came from, Love and Respect. It talks about men are built on respect and women are built on love. And when you talk about respect being the force that drives us, of course pride is the vice that gets us the most.
Yeah.
Because I won't be disrespected.
It makes sense, right?
I won't look bad.
Yeah.
I can't be less than. Women want to be loved, so they do the clamshell where like, I'm not hurt. Nothing hurts me. Are you?
It's okay.
Baby, are you okay? I'm fine.
Yeah. Do what you want.
Because it's love, but respect, pride. Pride keeps us there.
Yep.
And you say it's a universal sin, 100%, but I would be willing to bet all the money I have, $72 for somebody out there.
And 18 cents,
and
you told
18
me,
cents, right?
Yeah.
That, of course, men are afflicted by it more.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me.
I do think it's something we struggle with pretty universally. So
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a good point. What do you got?
all right, let's keep going here. So then there was the Great Return.
Yep.
Man, one of the hot points I wrote down from this, which comes back to something you were just saying about the difference between salvation and coming to God as you are and the growth you want to see beyond that. And Tim made the point that God doesn't serve his best on dirty dishes.
That's right. I love that line. Love that line.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, ooh, back that one up too,
Yep.
you know? And it just reminded me that, as we are here to be salt and light, we also have to be at a point where God can pour into us.
That's right.
Sometimes, we have the ambulance version of Christianity, right?
Break in case of emergency.
Yeah, right.
It's fire insurance.
Let's go. We'll promise God everything under the sun in that moment of crisis where, heal my family, fix my job, whatever it is. But then when things are roses again, we go back to, some of our selfish ways of living for ourselves and being dirty dishes.
Yep, because you start to think you got yourself to the mountain.
Yeah.
He gets you all the way from the valley to the mountain. You live at the mountain long enough, you're like, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So again, in that multi-level application of that, you look at it on a personal level, you look at it on a family level, and then you look at it on a level of where we're at in America, where we want God to pour his blessing out on our country. And, just to be inclusive here, let's go with North America.
He's Canadian, guys.
Yeah,
he's Canadian.
If you didn't
pick up on that.
Yep. So when we want God to bless North America, but we don't want to be blessable.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Just bring it.
Yeah.
You like that one? It's Canada of America. That's the argument I have with people all the time.
I wasn't ready.
When it's like United States of America,
Yeah.
when I'll be like, I'm American. They're like, oh, I thought you're from Canada.
North American.
Canada of America.
That's it. It's true.
United States of America.
I once heard Canada described as a loft apartment above the world's greatest party.
Oh man, I hear them all, and my crowd again. Some of them are in this room, so I've heard them all from America's Hat. We get them all.
Yep.
But in truth, there's definitely an awesome, friendly relationship there.
Oh, yeah.
Between our countries.
Absolutely. And if you've never been to Canada, go.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
West Coast, East Coast, Central. Further north you go, the less people there are. It's pretty great.
It is pretty great.
Yeah.
It's definitely a beautiful country. I miss home a lot. But I miss family more than anything. But as you and I were talking about just the other day, I've been truly blessed here in Pensacola. Came here as a kid, really
rough and rowdy teenager.
Oh, and definitely the rough and rowdy part. But this community has
you came here to go
me.
to PCC, right?
Yes, yeah.
So did you graduate from PC?
No,
that was weird. That's
yeah, not that weird. Actually, it's actually quite a bit easier to do than you might think.
Yeah,
the easiest thing in the world to do is to not graduate from there. There's tons of stories there.
Yeah.
You look back at that stuff and, people ask me all the time my opinion on PCC because they know I went there. And here, I'll give you a couple of Dougisms right out of the gate here. So, number one, when you are a Christian institution, there's a different level of accountability.
Sure.
And I say that to say, if I go off to this secular university and have X happen in my life, people would blame Doug for the stupid thing that he did. You go to a Christian university and everything suddenly becomes the fault of the institution, right? Yep. You go off to school and you get in this trouble or that trouble, and it's suddenly PCC's fault. And that's true even in youth, right? So if kids go off to camp and they get in trouble, get caught doing this, that, or the other, those stupid kids did this or that. But if they're at church camp, it's like, how did they let them away with this?
That's right.
We put that onus all of a sudden on the institution.
Absolutely.
So my point behind that is, it's not a job I want.
Right.
Okay. Is there differences in the way that I think God loves us and the truth of grace and all those things?
Absolutely.
Yes. I also think that where I was when I went there, that's where God had for me.
Sure.
I truly believe that I went there
for a reason,
and that was God's purpose for my life for that season.
It's good, man.
But I'm an Argo.
Yep.
So it did also bring me to Pensacola, Florida, and rather than leave here, when I left PCC, I went to UWF.
Yep.
And was able to finish there and have incredible friendships and relationships from both. But yeah, that's how I got here.
It's great, man.
Yeah.
So step 4, great reward.
Yeah. It was a degree from somewhere else.
Yep.
Step 4, great reward. What I wrote down was hear, help, and heal, which was the 3 that Tim had put up there.
Yep.
Under that one. And that's just like where he's talking about the reward of us having that repentance.
Yep.
And that turn away, right?
Yeah.
And again, he's literally was referencing our country, that we can have healing in our country and in our land if we will turn back to God and turn away from our sin and not be that dirty dish.
That's right.
But again, for me, just listening to it, I was just thinking about so many things on a personal level.
Yes.
Of ways that I can make sure I'm doing the dishes.
Yep.
All right. And then the last one was a great restoration. And there was a point in here that I thought you and I would both resonate with and be able to talk through. And Tim made the point that, as we are, as Christians, supposed to be salt and light and supposed to be fighting for our country, he made the point that God isn't looking just for a defense.
Yep. He's looking for
looking for a strong offense.
That's right.
And as Christians, sometimes it's easy. It's probably the most comfortable seat to play defense, to sit back. And if somebody challenges you, if somebody walked up to you and said, man, I don't believe all that God crap, I think we're both type people that we can have that conversation.
Sure can.
We can talk about why God is real to us and why it's not about religion, but about a relationship and all those things.
And based on the person on the other side of the table.
Yeah,
right? Some people,
100%.
It's the analytics, it's apologetics, it's creation theory, it's moral absolutes, it's you can't get life from non-life. You could talk about all those scientific things, but bar none, across the board, straight out of Revelation, what finally defeats the enemy? It's the blood of the Lamb and the power of my testimony.
Yep.
I could tell you my testimony, and there's not a thing you can say that says that's not true.
Yes.
Because it's my testimony. Yep. So I can speak whatever God has done in my life, and you just have to go, okay. Yeah. There's nothing you can say to that.
Yeah. And the truth of it is that we're all putting our faith in something.
Yes.
People, when I have these conversations, and I have lots of really good friends who are at a different place as far as their belief system or their faith, that I'm able to have super respectful conversations with, where we can agree to disagree, if you will. But the argument I'll always make is, you look at me and think that I'm just putting my faith and trust in this mythical story.
Yeah.
But everyone is putting their faith and trust in something.
Yeah.
It may or may not be in what I believe to be truth.
Yep.
But you're putting your faith in something.
There's this Christian comedian, and I can't say every word he says in this bit for obvious reasons, but he has this thing. He's talking to an atheist. He's like, so where do you think the universe, what started the universe? And the atheist's like, well, nothing. It's like, so nothing. He's like, this came from nothing. He's like, yeah. He's like, and who do you think's in control of all this? Nothing. And when you die, what happens to your body? Nothing. Where does your body go? Where does your soul go? Nowhere. Goes back to nothing. It's like, so nothing created the universe. Nothing's ruling over the universe. And when you die, you go back to nothing. That's called God, bro.
Yeah.
You're literally describing
really
God.
Just described it for us. Yeah. Well done. Yeah, I heard one recently where someone was talking about And again, when the evidence is real in your life, it's just a different story.
Yes.
But that everything is a shout out to its creator, right?
Yes.
You never look at a painting and go, "That's neat how that paint fell on there,"
Yep.
right? Like it's literally a sign of its
Yep.
creator.
Or a bridge,
you can look
or
at
an
a
airplane,
bridge,
or a
beautiful
car.
building, right?
Yep.
An architectural
Yep.
feat. You don't just go, "Man." Like when that storm came through there, those
just
bricks
fell
fell
like
pretty
that?
cool.
It was wild.
You know, they're all sign of intelligent
That's right.
creation. But then we look at our world and we look at nature, creation, the animal kingdom, and us, and we just throw all that away and go, "Yeah, happenstance.
Yeah.
Neato.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just happened.
Tornado through the dump yard.
Yep.
Yeah, came out the other side of 747.
It's wild, man.
Neato.
And I don't want to, not cross T's and dot I's. Pastor Tim's message was directly related to the civil unrest at colleges
Yes.
across the country right
Yep.
now over the Israel-Palestine conflict.
Oh, we're going to go into that one?
Yeah, well, that's where the message was.
Do politics
And
for a minute?
I don't want to talk too much into it. I don't want to go too much into it, but I'm telling you, if you're a Christian, you're for Israel.
Yeah.
I don't write the Bible. I don't get to pick God's word.
Unapologetically, right?
And I'm not watering down God's word. You're
Yeah.
for Israel.
Yep.
It is what it is. If you're
Yep.
watching this and this is the point where you click off, glad you were here to tune in.
Thanks for coming out.
But that's what he was talking about.
Still love you too.
Was this civil unrest on these college campuses and this tear between the ill-informed who want to rabble-rouse something
Yeah.
going against what God's already written. I know who's going to win that.
Yeah. There's bigger things at work there too.
There's a
though,
lot bigger
right?
things at work there.
We shouldn't be surprised in
Right.
that, I read the back of the book
Yeah.
type philosophy.
I know how the book ends.
Yeah. So there are, and that doesn't mean we should do nothing about it, right?
Correct.
That's the thing that frustrates me with people sometimes, like where they want to.
It's in God's hands. I
yeah.
could just sit on the couch. God's
or
got it.
because there are things that, again, if you believe about the end times and where our world will be, that there's no point in trying to save America, because if you believe the Bible to be true,
Yeah.
there's different forces at work. Man, what a dangerous philosophy,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, let's just, my kid's sick and I know where this ends, so I'm not going to give them the care
Yeah,
they need.
hands
Like,
off.
Yeah.
Hands off.
So there's that aspect of it to me where, like, again, as Christians, that we are supposed to be salt and light and reaching
Yep.
the lost and again, being clean dishes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
And it would change our country.
Oh, yeah.
It really would. And then coming back to your point about the crisis going on in Israel, it's become a cool fad thing
Yes.
all of a sudden. And hey, let's fill up the comment section. I do think a lot of it is grossly uninformed.
Yep.
People are just jumping on a popularity wagon without knowing the issues behind it.
Yes.
And especially, some of the groups that are for and behind these things that have no idea the level of persecution they themselves would face
if they were there.
in these countries that they want to be so
Yep.
heavily in support of.
It is so cool to be counterculture that you don't even realize that you're now pro-culture.
Yeah. Yes.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm so edgy, I'm so different, I'm so counterculture. You and 5 million of your friends.
Yeah. It's like, I wear jeans with flip-flops.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey.
Welcome to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a great message. It was a truthful message. It was a direct message, and people responded.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I talked about my gluttony message, because it was the same thing. I'm sure there was tensions in Tim's heart before he got on that stage. That's
Yeah.
why he said, hey, before I preach this, I need y'all to pray for your pastor.
Yep.
And I felt the same way. And there's salvations on the backside. There's God moving on the backside. And as a pastor, I can only imagine after that, he sat down and went, glad I obeyed that nudge.
Yep.
Glad I obeyed that
And,
one.
and again, coming back to just who Tim is and the way God's made him, that truth and love component, he bookended it on both sides with reminding people that God is for you.
Yep.
This isn't damnation
Right.
on you, your city, your country, or anything else. God is for you. But this is a wake-up call.
Yeah.
This is a reminder that we have to wake up and turn. As Christians, we have a responsibility.
Yep.
And as non-Christians in that audience, that there is a God who loves you at the highest level.
That's right.
Who paid the ultimate price for you and loves you, is for you.
Yeah.
You just got to accept it.
Yeah, man. And then seeing the baptisms after. I mean, what a day. What a day.
Yeah. So cool.
So
And barbecue.
and barbecue. And I already told you this story, but nobody else knows this story besides Jeff and my wife. I almost had medical called on me by the lifeguards.
Yeah. Heavy sleeper Stevie.
So you'll like this. You guys will like this. I can't nap. I don't nap well. I'm not good at naps. What happens is after 4 or 5 days of really bad sleep, my body will just turn the lights off for like hours. And it's usually in a place where I'm like not ready to take a nap. Yeah. I sit on the couch and I slump over.
Flying a plane.
And it it turns out doing a leader retreat right into beach baptism.
3 or 4 hard days.
It got
right
me
into
there.
beach baptism.
So
night,
we do
Steve.
Church, we do beach baptism, go work Mo meals, get money donated. We shut it down. It's just before 2:00. I go meet my family on the beach. My wife
had a little to eat in there too.
I had the barbecue on the backside. So my belly's full of smoked meats. And my wife has a canopy set up with a sheet under it, and my baby's laying there, my 8-month-old, and he's sleeping. I lay down just to lay with him, and that's all I remember. That's all I remember. About 2:00. Yeah. So it's about 2:00. I guess at some point 2.5 hours pass. Don't know. And I vaguely remember my wife preemptively like, "Hey, we're going to start putting everything away, just so you know."
Yeah.
And I rocked right through it.
Like slowly trying to bring you back to the land.
But I'm right back into the basin. There are nights when I fall asleep. If I fall asleep on the couch like this, my wife calls it a loss and just goes to bed because she knows I'm not getting up.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
It's dead body.
I will end up at about 3 a.m. coming to and taking enough steps to fall, usually on the foot of the bed like a dog, fully clothed, and she'll wake up to my body just on the foot of the bed.
Morning, sweetheart.
So yeah, they break down the canopy, and now I'm in open sunlight. Our buddy Jeff helps get the kids and all the stuff to the car.
Never stirred you. Not the sand that happens when you're
the sunlight that's
breaking down a tent. Not the sun that's beating in your face.
Directly on my back, right?
No, still good.
And now all the kids are standing around with their chairs in a half circle waiting to walk to the car.
Waiting on dead daddy.
And I'm on the sheet, just face down. And now Mel's gentle prodding is like, "Hey,
a little more encouraging.
It's time to get up."
1 step away from ocean water coming.
And we're right next to the lifeguard stand. And I start to come to just in time to hear some 17-year-old's voice. "Is he okay?
Is that guy right?
Do we need to call medical?" And my wife is trying, she's speaking truth, but I could tell the lifeguard was like very leery.
Yeah.
When she was like, "No, he's just a deep sleeper." And he's like, "I think I'm going to call medical."
Yeah.
I think
he's overconsumed a little today.
It's out. But the funny part about these naps is when I wake, it's like I'm up.
Yeah.
So
go
like
time now.
The eyes opened and I stood up. I was like, "All right, it's time to go." And I picked up the sheet and the lifeguard was just looking at me like, "What?"
Just happened to that guy. He powered back up.
Yeah, that was it. We went home.
Shout out to the Pensacola lifeguards.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, number one.
You were there for me if I needed
even
you.
for the people that aren't creating the disturbance, whose lack of disturbance is concerning.
Yeah.
But they were looking out for us that morning. So
Yes.
when we were down there early, those guys, kind of called us over and asked if we were the people that were about to be doing the baptisms, and just warned us about some of the conditions and stuff, and let us know they'd be keeping a extra eye out for us. We're super polite with us. Very accommodating. So shout out to those guys.
Yep.
It was just a couple young guys in the tower, man.
Yeah.
And they were very professional.
They were on it. And all
and the way
day,
they
because
dealt
there
with
was
us,
a very noticeable wide rip current.
Yeah.
All day they were on it, just
Yep.
getting people out of that rip current, pushing people. Good, man. So now we just talk about fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So I thought about you at the leader retreat, and you're
Oh,
going to
boy.
laugh because you're going to, at some point as I'm speaking, it's going to hit you why I thought about you. So I took them axe throwing.
Okay.
I've only gone axe throwing one other time in my life. Happened to be in Halifax, Canada. And the name of the place was Halifax. You get it? Yeah, whatever. That was like 6 years ago. I took them axe throwing because I had done a pretty tension-filled activity, and I was like, man, what a great way to blow off steam.
Yeah.
Go throw axes
let's
at a
go.
wall. So me and Eric Fields start throwing axes, and I mean, we're nailing it. We're nailing it. I'm a natural athlete.
Putting them on. Yeah. Putting them
Natural athlete. You already know where this is going.
I already know where this is going. This is my favorite.
So I'm a natural athlete.
Annoyingly so, yes.
Natural athlete. So I get there, and we're hitting.
Midas touch over here.
There's a little dot in the middle, 6 points. Then the bullseye is 5, and the outer ring is 4. And if I'm not getting a 4 at least, I'm mad.
Of course you are.
Like, it better be.
Yeah, super exciting.
You know,
I love this story.
So the dude comes out with his custom. He's a competitor. He ends up telling us he's 14th in the world. He's real good. And he has these like custom wood weighted axes. We start throwing those, and now the 4s are going to 5s.
Yeah.
We're crushing it. We're dicing it. And in a moment, I thought,
Are you sponsored yet? Close.
Well, so the owner of the place did ask if me and Eric lived locally. It said he might be able to get us on the
shoot a commercial
professional
real quick.
on the professional circuit. But for a moment, I was like, man, if Doug were here, if Doug worked here, what would have happened?
Tiny little axes.
Or like a spoon.
Yeah, this is how you start, bro.
If you could stick this spoon in
Yeah.
the bullseye, you'd be able to thread
So
the
I
needle.
get to tell the story.
Oh,
then,
tell the
right?
story.
Okay. So again, friends a long time, met through sports, and yes, it's 100% true. Steve is annoyingly good at sports. Just a natural athlete, but also it doesn't happen accidentally. Talk about that Temple
Good
part.
family breeding. Oh, yep. Temple.
Yeah, that good family breeding part. Yes, moms and dads would be proud. It was also good to see your mom yesterday.
Yes, yeah.
Her pops was out of town. Yes.
You see, he's at a NASCAR race in Dover, Delaware. Him and my
very
uncle do
cool.
it every year. They get together and go to a race. So
yes, genetics, of course, as well.
Of course. My 5'8" father.
love you, mom and pops,
Clearly,
Mendez.
5'8" father with a size 8 shoe is
Yeah.
where this came from. That.
But again, you put work into it. It doesn't just happen. Take good care of the temple.
Yep.
But that has made someone that can pick stuff up and be very good at things quickly. Well, exciting news to me. Steve had never golfed before.
Not
never
once.
golfed. Never, ever. And wanted to come golfing with me and some of the guys. So I came up with the genius idea. In fact, it literally hit me that morning. K-Star's younger brother, his golf clubs from when he was like 6 happened to be in our garage for I don't know why. And I saw those and ding, it was instant. Like the whole thing was visually in my head already. So I throw them in the back of the Jeep and off we go to the golf course. We get to that first tee box and I tell Steve that this is how everyone learns to golf. This is what you do. You don't just stand up there with big boy clubs and think you can do this stuff. You have to hit from your knees with, this driver couldn't have been more than 30 inches long, if that.
So sold.
And,
I was so bought in,
Steve's not the smallest guy I've ever met. And watching this cat get down on his knees in this tee box with this little kid driver fully bought in.
I didn't question
that. This is how you learn this sport. I think you actually hit a pretty decent ball from your knees, which made it more annoying. But man, it was hilarious. It's a video that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
That's something.
Unfortunately, we did laugh hard enough that Steve instantly knew that he'd been had.
Yeah,
I wanted
you
to see
could have
how
gotten more
far.
swings out of me.
I wanted to get at least 3 holes through that before we're like, Steve, I'm a terrible friend and a liar, and this is not how this goes. But yeah, we were dying so hard that he knew right out of the gate. But yeah, as soon as you started talking about how close you were to the center, I'm like, oh, I know what he's talking about.
But I was just thinking, man, Doug, if Doug knew anything about axe throwing, and I came here with him, he'd be like, hey, man, you want to get good, start with this spoon.
Spaghetti noodles.
Throw the spaghetti noodles at the target.
I got you, bro. One of my favorite golf stories of all time.
It's funny, man. But then on the backside of that, right, we had people like Therese, who, if you know Therese, just the
Tom and
sweetest,
Therese, man.
nicest lady.
Good people.
And there's 11 of us, and it's a pairs game. So she's like, oh, I'll just sit out. And I was like, man, the hell you will.
Yeah, you're getting in here.
So we got the pro that worked there to be her partner. And by the end, she's like lobbing these axes and hitting 4s and 5s. And you're like, let's go, Therese.
Yeah.
And she's crazy excited every time she gets one in.
So cool.
And you just see that moment. Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, very excitable
She's a high
person.
energy person.
But you saw that moment of I was ready to sit out, and I'm so glad I didn't.
Yeah.
And it's just cool.
Got
man.
in it. Very, very cool.
Super, super fun. Axe throwing was a hit. Definitely missed you. But
Hey,
I've
man,
seen
I
you.
appreciate you taking the time to pour into our leaders.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I know that your schedule is crazy. There's things that you love that you've had to even put to the wayside for a little while, as crazy as your schedule is. It's crazy family and crazy big responsibilities with a growing youth group and new numbers every week. So for you to take those 3 days and pour into the people that you care about because you care about them growing as leaders, man, I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. There was a selfish motive there. If I don't fly for 1 week, I get to grow a beard.
You get to grow that glorious beard.
So-
yeah. It's been 2 weeks for me.
This is it, man. It's real nice, man.
Yeah.
It's real good.
I missed flights twice in a row. And
But
they're
yeah,
just like,
I take a Thursday, Friday off. I
Yeah.
don't have to shave for 2 weeks
Very
because I
nice.
miss a week. And you know, I get to.
Yeah.
This is Mel's favorite. Is this stage?
I hate that Tyler missed it.
Yeah.
He probably had a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
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 It's one of those things I could just see him latching onto for a minute.
I like my beard, man.
Yeah.
I love my beard.
Oh, it's great. I'm sure he would too, and he would also probably be comparing it to his own the entire time.
That's fine. His is long but patchy, and mine is short but full. It's fine. You have a beautiful beard, Tyler. It's a beautiful beard.
I love it.
It's a beautiful beard.
Have you ever seen the picture of me when I went to Halloween as Tyler McNeely?
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that one?
Oh, yeah. I've seen that picture.
I took pictures with K-Star, my bride, that night, and there were a few people that come like, "What's Tyler hugging on your wife like that for?" Like, it's not Tyler, it was me. I went full commitment, man.
Uh-huh.
It was back when Tyler was still rocking the mohawk.
Yep.
Of course, I already had the beard part down, a little fuller, but similar enough. So I shaved the mohawk in, rocked the glasses, the whole deal, and of course wore shorts with a hoodie.
Yep, that checks out.
Yeah, a Momentum hoodie even.
Very high shorts with a hoodie.
I mean, there's a level of commitment there that not all
that
of
you're
us
not
have.
willing to go.
Yeah, I just told people to take pictures from, here up kind of deal. Yeah.
And you know what, man? Every time I grow my beard, I think of you too.
Yeah.
Because the beard products I use were the ones you told Mel to get.
Yeah, when you first started in, Mel was like, "He's growing a beard. What do I
grew
get
it for
for
like
Steve?"
2.5 months when I got out of active duty. I had an actual beard. But now when it gets to here, I could start using the oils and the soaps and just keeping it, because it stops my face from itching.
Yeah,
I hate when my face gets itchy, man.
This level too, which you want to talk sad stuff for a minute. There was number one. I'm by the time people are watching this, I'm about to leave for Memphis in May.
Yep.
So originally I was like, I'm just gonna rock it till after Memphis in May.
Sure.
But then my Leafs were still in the playoffs as well, so I'm like, well, I can't shave this thing. My wonderful bride and I have a little dance thing coming up.
Okay.
Here in not too long. I don't know if we've talked about this a whole lot, but there's this little organization called Life's a Dance.
Okay.
They're fantastic. Look them up. They raise money for charity similar to the way we do, and do fantastic work in our community. Victor and Melanie Luna lead it up.
I know them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know them from Eggfest.
Fantastic people. So there's, it's tied to the Dancing with the Stars type stuff.
you.
So
Yeah.
every year there's locals who dance with professionals, but they also ask a few couples
Nice.
in our area that they view a certain way if they'd be willing to do this. So for the last 6-8 months, I've been having weekly dance lessons.
Nice, man.
Yeah, you don't want to miss this. But June 20th, say all that to say, June 20th is that performance. And I'm like, K-Star will never let me away with still having.
You got to look squared away.
Yeah. She's probably want me to be about the length you're rocking right now. Like, she wants it way down. So I'm like, I got it. I was going to keep it for my Leafs and stuff.
There's bigger things at play here.
3-1, man. We dropped 3-1 in that series.
Oh, I know.
Came back to a game 7 and lost it in overtime. I was super proud of the Leafs. They played really well. Even in that night, where Wall was out and Sampsey was back in, I thought he played awesome. I didn't drive home that night thinking, man, if we'd have just had Wall.
Sure.
He stepped up, man.
Yeah.
At the highest level. Boston just beat us. They made a fantastic play in overtime to get the win. But I was crushed.
Yeah. Sorry. Very sorry. There's a table in Wisteria who will forever remember you.
In my defense, that was a celebration.
It was a celebration.
Yes. I would be more embarrassed if that were a frustration thing. If out of anger I had made that hole, that would be embarrassing to me. It literally was a celebration.
Yeah.
We popped in a much needed goal, and now it is like it's a little stirrup for my foot though. Like, I can
it fits right
put
in there.
my foot up there. Yeah, it's that nice little oops.
Did you know that as a young man, I was a professionally trained ballroom dancer?
I did not know that. So in all this time we've known each other, we're both professional dancers, and we've never talked about it.
Never talked about it.
I am not a professional dancer.
Doc knows.
No kidding.
Doc knows. So the conversation
a little bit
came up. Sorry, man. It never really came up.
Doc.
Me and Doc went to Savannah for the first time when I was playing for the Norfolk Blues.
Yep.
And I don't know if you remember, there's on Government Street a courtyard of bars, treetops, and but there's a big courtyard in the middle of it, outside, right there on Government in Savannah. Well, that time when we went to Savannah, there was a DJ set up, and that courtyard was like an outdoor dance club, and it was all Latino music. And I'm with a whole rugby team.
These are why he learned to golf with tiny little clubs. Right here.
These stories
right
here?
Here. Yeah.
So I'm here with the whole rugby team. And we are with the women's rugby team from Norfolk too, the Storm.
Yep.
And none of the guys danced with any of the girls. And this isn't like nightclub dancing. This is fun salsa, merengue, like fun dancing.
Yeah.
So I grab this one female. She actually goes to our church now. Mia.
Strong.
Yeah. Mia and her husband, Justin. Me and her husband, Justin, go to our church now because they moved down here. Cool connection. And I was like, girl, like, I see you dancing with your friends. Like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Let's cut a rug.
Yeah, let's go.
And we start ripping it. And then I have a line of, and we're just dancing.
Full dance card instantly.
And afterwards, Doc and Nick and a couple guys on the team were like, what was that?
Yeah, how long did you stand in your living room watching YouTube to learn that?
What was that? So here's the story. My sister was a competitive ballroom dancer most of her life. And sadly, her dancing career was ended by a car accident that like shattered her leg and took her out. But really high level, used to travel and compete most of her life. Well, the dance studio that she trained at and worked at, the owners had a daughter that was 2 years younger than me. And when she came of age, about
She needed a dance partner.
She needed a dance partner that was a little older, a little bigger, because that's kind of that strength dynamic. And they told me that if I was her dedicated dance partner, I could come for free. And I did that for a few years, and it was super fun.
So, truth in all that is, number one, when we'd been asked to consider doing this for a few years, everybody was like, I don't have the time.
Sure.
This year it was like one of those things I could tell was super important to K-Star. I'm like, let's make this happen.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's do the dancing thing. But of course, if I'm going to do it,
You want to do it right.
yeah. Like Victor right away, out of the gate was like, "Oh, you're serious about this?" I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, if I'm going to do it,
I don't want to look like a schlub.
Yeah, I'm going to, I'm going to go out there and give it my best.
Yep.
The intention is to win this thing, not just participate. That's
Yeah.
just not how I roll. Also, I fully know my role in this thing. I tell them all the time, like, K-Star is the flowers.
I'm here to make her look good.
I'm the vase.
That's it.
Like,
Yeah. 100%.
I'll do my best to make these flowers look awesome. But yes, I'm the vase.
Yeah.
That being said, shout out to dancers when we first agreed to do it, and you've got to, give them some idea as to what you want to do, or maybe a song or a style of dance. I start watching all these videos. We watched ungodly videos of these dance routines.
Yep.
I'd watch them and be like, easy, easy.
I could do that.
Easy. Like, literally, I'd show them
Yeah.
K-Star and be like, we could kill this.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. We could kill this. And then you start doing it and you realize what all is going on that you have when they're doing it well at that level, they
looks
make it look
easy.
easy.
Right.
But when you realize the balance, coordination, footwork,
Oh, yeah.
it was humbling for the first
yeah.
few weeks. And it's still humbling now, not trying to make it like we have it all together. But things that we do well now were very tricky at the start. Simple spins and footwork and lifts and stuff like that. But you'll have to be there, man.
I would love to be there. That'd be fun, man.
We go out right after it. Yeah.
I'm there.
Off camera, I'll tell you the song we're doing.
Send me the information.
Yeah.
But it's actually, that's part of mine and Mel's story, man, is Seville does Latin night. And her and I meandered in there for Latin night. And where I know what I'm doing pretty well, she's a great follower. And I brought her out there on the dance floor and whipped her around in the early stages of our dancing. And I remember it was like an old cartoon. Like she stopped spinning and the hearts came out of her eyes. And I was like, hey, there's something here.
Yeah.
I got something here. And I mean, I did it when I was like,
I like that you said it was Mel's eyes that were doing
well, mine
this.
were already stuck that way.
Okay. I was going to say, I know that you were smitten,
The second I met her in the gym, mine were stuck that way. It took a while for me to get them from her. And that was the moment.
Red shorts. Story for another podcast. Yep. Next time Tyler goes out of town.
It's just funny because I did it as a kid.
Yeah.
10 to maybe 13, 14. But it just sticks with you.
Yeah.
It just sticks with you.
Yeah.
And it's fun, man. Dancing is fun.
Yeah. We've had a blast with it. In all honesty, again, I went into it not hesitant about doing it. And I think the world of Victor and Melanie. They're incredible people that do a lot in our community. It was more the time commitment for me, right? Like weekly lessons.
You have so much time.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one or two things going on.
What do you do all day?
Yeah. I was just sitting around waiting for you to call me. Be like, hey, I got something.
You didn't have to shift anything around. You didn't have to...
No. Change of tea time. Something like that. But yeah, I was worried about the commitment because, again, if I'm going to do it, I want to go all the way with it. I don't want to be the guy that they're like, well, this would be great if we could get him on board.
Right.
You know, I wanted to be supportive of K-Star in that too, but it has been a ton of fun.
It's good,
and
man.
yes, I do think it's the type of stuff that we'll carry forward. Like, and we've put so much work into it that I already am thinking about or looking at how and where we'll continue that, because I don't want to just like dump it all after June 20th.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
It's
Life's a Dance, be there, June 20th.
little things like that. We did the silent disco for our high schoolers, and some reggaeton song came on, and I looked at Mel and she looked at me, and we ended up dancing. All the teenagers are taking but it's one of those moments
Yep.
that only happened because you took the time to get ready for this thing. And now in 5 years, you and K-Star might be
Straight cut a rug.
on some vacation.
Yep.
And there's a dance floor, and you're like, hey, come on, let's go put on a show.
Yeah. I'll go request our song.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I'll give you this hint.
Yeah.
It's a monster ballad.
Okay.
Because I knew what some of the other people were doing. No offense to what anyone else picked. I'm like, I don't want. Like,
You wanna be different.
I didn't want to do Ed Sheeran, bro.
You wanna be different.
Yeah. I had to do something that, I'm old, bro.
Yeah.
I'm old as dirt. I'm right there with it,
Yeah.
Me and Adam were tight. Yeah. But so yeah, I went with a monster ballad, and it's worked out great. Victor's been super accommodating. He does, all our choreography and stuff for it. So
Super
yeah,
cool.
it's been a ton of fun.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
June 20th.
June 20th.
I know I'm around. It's after camp,
Yes.
so I want to see it.
Yep. K-Star needed to know that it was after camp
Yep,
before
yep.
we committed to. Sometimes she goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, man. Well, how long do you think we've been on the podcast? I'm going to say 63 minutes.
I don't have a clue. I really don't.
Just a guess. Knowing that we sat butts in seat at 1 o'clock and probably started filming at 1:03, and we did the 15-minute or the 5-minute intro first.
Did a little intro first, then
So I'm
jumped
going to say
into
we're at
this.
63 minutes.
I'm going to go on the other side of you. I'm going to go 64:15.
Okay. Woo! We are crushing it.
Yeah.
All right, close this thing up. We usually end with a game. This is a game that I really like, and I think you and me are going to be way better at it than Tyler. Tyler thinks it's a competition between us. He doesn't understand the goal is to win together.
Okay.
So he's always trying to game the game.
Yeah.
It's called Wavelength.
Okay.
So here's how we play. I think of a number, 1 to 10. You have no idea what that number is.
Okay.
I'll show the camera. You pick categories, and I name something in that category that I believe falls in this number, and you're trying to guess the number. So here's the example. Let's say I guessed 3,
Okay.
and you say fast food chains, and I say crystals. I'm trying to get you to guess 3.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
bracketing you with my answers for you to go, this is what your number is, and to see if we get there.
To try and go. So number, category, guess number. And Tyler tries to beat you at this?
Well, he
That would make this difficult.
he gives answers, and I'll be like,
How did you get there?
what? And he's like, well, you. And then when we were not at the same number, he's like, so I won? I'm like, no, it's not. You're not trying to win, man. We're trying to get there
Wavelength.
together.
I've never heard of this.
Super fun.
I'm ready
So
to give it a go.
If you close your eyes, I'll give the camera a number. All right. Now you
So,
give me a category.
A category.
And it could be anything that has a 1 to 10 tangible scale of items.
Has a 1 to 10 tangible scale of items.
And I'm trying to get you to my number, so I'm speaking from what I know about you as well.
Yeah. Oh, I thought of one that would make it way too easy. I was going to go with rugby positions. Dude, should we just beat Tyler at this right out of the gate?
Okay.
Rugby positions.
All right, and honestly, so after each category, you give a 2 to 3 number swath that you're thinking,
Okay.
because that calibrates my answers for the next rounds to try to get you there. So rugby positions, for my number, what I guessed, I would say flanker.
Ooh, flanker. So at this point, I'm giving you a number or this bracket?
Give me a swath of where you think I might be.
I'll give you a swath. I'm going to go somewhere between, let's say, 6 and 7.
Okay, keep going. Well, that's a funny answer because that's the numbers of the position.
That's totally what I was going with. I was like, we're winning this. Right
Oh,
out of the
no.
gate.
I was giving you legitimately like passion for the position based on rugby players.
Oh,
Like when
man.
people generally are like, if you could play any position, what would you want to play? Like, a flanker. What that would be.
So what you're saying is your number 1? Like you're trying to pick a number I'm lost on this
Okay,
now.
all right,
I was
so-
literally like, this could be so easy because I'm going to give you this. You say hooker, and I go two.
So one.
So not the same wavelength.
Right. 1 is crap. 10 is the pinnacle.
Ah, okay.
10 is the greatest thing in the world. 1 is the worst thing in the world.
So I totally missed that these numbers were a scale.
It's fine.
I thought I'm thinking of categories you can tie a
it's
number
a scale.
to.
It's a scale.
All right.
Yeah. So try a different category. I'm sticking with the same number. I
Okay.
got the
Same number you had.
Yeah.
I'll give you a new category. Let's go with football teams.
Okay. Football teams. We're going to go with. All right, and this is your wavelength, so I got to go off of your wavelength.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with. So you didn't say professional. I'm gonna go with FSU.
Oh, FSU. Okay. So
Tell me a two number swath that you're thinking right now.
Okay. So I like this. Well done. So again, 1 is the highest, 10 is the lowest.
10 is the highest.
10 is the highest.
10 is the gold standard.
All right. Here's my swath. My swath is 8-9.
Okay. Next category.
Does that mean we won or didn't win?
I'm not telling you anything until we lock in a number, but I'm telling you, give me another category. I'm trying to get you to a number.
Okay.
And based on what you told me, where you're thinking, tells me how to curtail my next answer.
Okay. So new category.
New category.
Let's go with vehicle types.
Vehicle types.
Yes. Category like pickup versus.
Okay. Type of vehicle.
Yes.
Type of vehicle. All right.
Yeah, category.
We're going to go with. A 2-door old school Jeep, but with no AC.
Oh yeah. See, now I feel like my original range was on point. Thought you were going to go the other end on me to tell me I was wrong. I'm going to go right to 9.
Okay. All right. Give me another category.
Let's see. Another category. Let's go with Pensacola restaurants.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
I think your job may be the toughest part of this.
George's.
So I'm at 8 now.
Do you want to lock it in?
Yeah.
It's 3 categories usually where we lock it in.
Yeah.
Lock it in 8?
8.
It's an 8.
Yeah.
Let's freaking go. That's it. That's how it's supposed to work, Tyler.
That's super fun.
Take freaking notes, man.
Super good game. So FSU, great guess on your part. I thought 9-8 because that's my college team.
But it's not the Packers.
But it's not the Packers.
That's right.
Right? So you got me in that category
Correct.
right away. That's the second highest team I root for in
Correct.
football. So you mentioning the fact that I didn't say pro teams really helped on that
Yes.
part. Because I was like, man, I thought it'd be easy for you on that one with football if you were on either end, but the middle would be tough, like to just pick a random team.
What would be your 8 pro team? That's hard for me.
If it were just pro, my 8 pro team, yeah, that's tough. Because there's my 8 would probably be Browns. Only
And I was
because,
gonna say Browns.
because I root for them with Luke on them.
Yeah, I was going to say Browns,
As far
but I
as
thought
pro teams
FSU was
number,
better.
yeah, that was way better. Yeah, that was a good call to go not just pro.
And then I
Made it
knew
easy.
2-door Jeep was going to get you high, but I took away the AC because I needed to dampen you a little bit.
Because you know the pain of
Yes,
my life.
correct.
Yeah,
It's a good game,
done.
right?
I like that game.
But 8
I
on
think
the
with
money.
practice you could get real good at that too.
On the
'Cause
money.
If I understood it better out of the gate, I think I could give better categories.
Yeah.
That I can think of things that you'll know.
Sure.
Where
Well, you
I
did
am
pick
on
good
different
categories,
stuff.
though.
Yeah.
And now, would you agree that flanker is an 8 on the passion
yeah.
scale?
Yeah.
Like most
Yeah,
people are like,
perfect.
oh, I'd love to play that, but it's
Yes.
not like
Number 1 or
No,
anything.
'cause you still gotta hit a lot.
I literally thought I was cheating the system where I'm
And
like
picking a number?
because we have the one.
well, how
sport,
funny would it have been if I just said 8 man?
Yeah. For me, we have the one sport that the number's directly tied to where you are. So
Right.
without you telling me a number, I thought, hey, if let's just say you had picked 9.
Yeah.
I say rugby positions, you say scrum half, I say 9. We
Game
won the
over.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't need a range.
Yeah, it's funny.
Didn't understand the scale part, but that's a ton of fun.
It's a good game.
You got to know who you're playing with to
You
to pull
do.
that
There has
off.
to be a wavelength of synergy,
Yeah.
which Tyler, it's how you're not trying to beat me. We're on
Come
the same
Tyler.
team, man.
It's pretty easy. So first go, and you're supposed to do it in 3.
Yeah, usually 3 is what we go for.
Challenge is set, Tyler.
Yep.
Come on.
You got
Start
it.
working with them, not against them.
On the money, man.
Yeah.
8.
Love it.
That was it. George's. Love George's,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yes.
8 is not a snooty answer.
It is not.
George's is fire.
I have some loyalties in this town. You know,
Yep.
Global Grill has been tied to K-Stars and I's relationship
Yes.
from get-go.
Same.
You know, Frank Taylor cooked
Yep.
for us on our very first date.
Yep.
When we were both just childrens, he cooked for our rehearsal dinner, and we celebrate everything there. And it's so nice that your favorite food is also the place you have that emotional tie
Oh, yeah.
because everything they cook is straight fire.
Oh, yeah.
But I was just having this conversation with someone the other day. We are spoiled in Pensacola with the number of high-level, fantastic restaurants we have for the size of our town.
Iron, George's, Global, Pearl and Horn.
Yeah.
I mean,
man, Pearl and Horn.
there's some amazing restaurants
been
in
yet?
Pensacola. I have not been yet. I've only heard rave reviews.
Yeah. You
I've
wanna know what to get?
Yes, I do.
Collars.
The collars?
Collars.
Okay.
One
Yeah.
of the best dishes in this town, flat out. Shout out Pearl and Horn.
Another one
Legit.
I've heard rave reviews about and haven't been to is Brother Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Heard good things
Fire.
about Brother Fox. But to have that many, that caliber restaurants
Yes.
in a small, yeah.
Both been lucky enough to do some traveling, and I'd put our top against anyone's top. I
It's
really
amazing,
would.
man.
I love
Yeah.
it.
And without paying a stupid amount.
Yeah.
Because usually when you go to, Michelin and no,
Yeah.
you're paying. You could walk away from any of those restaurants, you and a spouse, under $200, and you have ate and drank and had dessert and been merry, and you're still sub
Easy.
200.
Yep.
It's great, man.
Unless you have kids with the palate of my kids.
Kids are different.
And you have to go with all 5.
Yep.
We did Global Grill the other
Oh,
night.
I heard,
all
for
5
18th
of us.
birthday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, these days, there's tag-alongs, too. And tag-along's not a fair word for Erin.
No,
because,
she's awesome.
Absolutely love her at
Yeah.
the highest level. Sweet kid. But so Cole's young lady friend came with us for her first Global Grill experience, and we ate all the things. We had a blast. It was
K-Star
one of those
was
meals
telling
where you
me-
just don't care what the tab is, right?
Right.
You just order the things.
K-Star's takeaway, we talked about that a little bit on the retreat. She said, you know, when like you and me and Doug and Mel go, how you like eat and talk? Well, they just eat and eat.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
eat.
They
so
demulge
plates are
some
just
things so
coming
fast.
and coming and
Yeah.
coming.
I ordered
Yeah.
a stupid number of orders of tuna cubes
They're so good.
because, like, you know, we kind of eat them and talk and,
Yeah.
like you say, enjoy the evening in each other's company. You put those tuna cubes down, those kids just like ding ding, like you're eating popcorn, bro.
Well, there's $20.
Yeah, that's strong
Next order.
popcorn.
Yeah.
But hey, they're that good. It's
That's
to
funny.
me still one of the best bites you'll
Oh, yeah.
ever have.
Yep. And in that game, man, I always give the 10 spot to one thing, and then everything trickles from there. So
Yeah.
my 10 is Global Grill.
Yeah.
When I'm
Oh, yeah.
because we've used that category, me
Yes.
and Tyler. 10 is Global Grill, and then everything trickles from there.
Yep.
So
That's absolutely the same
Yeah.
for me. And I also figured when I said that one, we both being people who appreciate food,
Yes.
I felt like he knows my top.
yep.
And he knows
he's not
my
picking,
tops.
and he's not picking my top for a
Yes.
reason. Yeah. That's it.
Well done.
Yeah.
Come on, Tyler.
Tyler.
Step it up.
Well, guys, we love you. It's been a great episode of The Current. Doug Jolly, one of our deacons, one of my best friends. Glad he could come fill in.
Privileged to be here, man.
And we'll see you on Sunday at Mother's Day. We'll see you on Mother's Day. Child dedications in the house this Sunday. Get signed up for camp. Get ready for Love Week and spay and neuter your pets or something. I think that's what.
Well done.
Yeah.
Bob Barker.
Love you guys. See ya.